So it's that time of the year again when we're making our own tomato sauce. Last year we did it and we got a really good response, so we decided to make a high quality video from the buying to the making to the bottling. So it will hopefully inspire a lot more people to go out there and make their own sauce. And for people who already do, maybe it's a different way. And who doesn't like watching tomato sauce being made? I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. So this is dedicated towards all the nonni out there who already make their own sauce and also my own. Nonna Tekla, Nonna Rodana, and Mama Roda. This is for you as well. So hope you enjoy. So the first step of making a tomato sauce is getting the actual tomatoes. So what we did was we woke up at about 5:30 and we went to the markets at about 6 a.m. and we ended up getting about 10 boxes of fresh Roma tomatoes or Roma tomatoes. Main reason why we get those type of tomatoes is because they're quite juicy compared to other tomatoes you buy. So they're perfect for making sauce. So if you can, get some Roma tomatoes. If not, anything will do. But yeah.
The next step is to then load the tomatoes into the car, drive home, unload the boxes, and then start washing them. So the main reason we wash our tomatoes is to not only make sure that they're clean, but to also make sure we scrutinize each one in case any of them are overripe. The last thing you want to do is put an overripe tomato into the machine and then go into your sauce. So once they've been washed, we then cut the tomatoes into quarters. This allows the tomatoes to actually go into the machine without clogging it up.
So the machine's turned off for this part just because it's really loud. I want to be able to talk about what I'm doing. So the next step after we've washed and cut the tomatoes is we actually put it through the machine. So we get a handful of tomatoes, we put it in, goes through the machine, it separates the skin from the tomato. The sauce comes out into the saucepan and the skin comes out the side here. The skin is actually quite fresh and it's got quite a lot of sauce still in there. So what we do is once this bowl is full, we then put it back in here about 3 times and we circulate it through. Then, once that's done, we put this bowl of skin and we put it into the compost in the backyard. Not because we're environmental, not because it saves the planet. It gives us good soil, and we need soil for the plants, Gotta make good sauce.
Another technique we also used that day was boiling the tomatoes before putting them into the machine. This allowed the tomatoes to be nice and soft when they're going through the machine, making it a lot less likely for it to be clogged. We boiled the tomatoes for about 30 to 40 minutes. And during that time, we try and stir the tomatoes from the bottom up to the top. This allows the top tomatoes to also reach the bottom and heat up evenly. Here is a short video of us adding the boiling tomatoes into the machine. Here you can see the tomato sauce being separated from the skin and flowing into the pot. To help you understand why we use the skin of the tomatoes again and again, this clip is here to show you how with each pass, the tomato skin reduces in size. And by the 3rd pass, there is literally no sauce left in the skin that we throw it out. Once the pot is full of tomato sauce, we move it onto the stove to boil. Once it's on the stove top, we add 2 tablespoons of salt and a handful of basil, and we mix it in. After a short period of time, the sauce will foam up and then start to reduce. It should reduce to about 10 to 15 millimeters, sometimes even 20 millimeters, before we know that it's completely boiled through.
Alright, so now the sauce has been boiling and it's now ready to be put into the bottles. The bottles have this piece of Glad wrap here because when we cook with the sauce, we use the bottle obviously, and then we wash it out with detergent and boiling water, and then to dry it out we put it in the oven so that there's no water inside left, and then we just put a piece of Glad wrap on top, and that just seals the inside from getting any contaminants. So now when it's time to actually fill it up again, all we have to do is just take off the Glad wrap, put the funnel back on, and start filling it up. Now this sauce is boiling, so if this touches your skin, you will get burnt. It's very, very hot, so make sure you stay very careful and don't spill it, because not only will you waste the sauce, but you will burn yourself, so it's a kind of double whammy. And as you pour it, just keep looking at the bottle and how high the sauce is going up with each time you fill it, because once you get to the top, you'll start to see me not get full scoops. So might just get a bit less. You have a look, maybe a bit more. Perfect. Now sometimes, because this sauce has basil in it, it gets stuck in the funnel, and what to do when that happens is, because the sauce won't go down anymore because it's stuck. So best thing to do is just give it a little shake, a little tap side to side, and eventually it will go down and you can keep putting more sauce in. But yeah, don't get too confused if you're wondering why it stopped. Either it stopped because the basil's in there, or it stopped because you've overfilled it. So yeah, let's keep going with this. Also, these bottle caps, these are just some steel bottle caps you can buy. We actually boil them, and then we let them dry on a tea towel face down, and when they're ready we just take them up, pick them up, put them on the bottle, use this little contraption, and this just clamps it and then seals the bottle. So now nothing will go in, won't spill out, it's all nice and sealed. These bottles are really, really hot, so I can't hold them for very long. That's pretty much the process of putting putting the sauce into the bottle. Bit simple, but you got to take a lot of care, because last thing you want to do is spill it and lose a lot of sauce.
One eternity later.
So it's a 12:15 now. We've just put the sauce into the bottles and they are really hot right now. Like, you can't even touch the bottles for very long because they're really hot. In order to preserve the sauce for a number of years, what we do is we don't put preservatives in it. Instead, what we do is we actually put it in what we call the coffin. Now the coffin pretty much is just 4 pieces of wood which surround the bottles, and inside it there's all these doona covers, and this insulates the bottles and keeps them all really nice and warm for about just over a week, about a week and a half. So we put these in, which I'll show you now. So as you can see, there's all the bottles here. Literally just put them in, cover it up, make sure there's no gaps. And once that's done, we let them be for about, like I said, a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks or around that area. Yeah, so literally you can put your hand under here in 3-4 days time and it'll still be really warm. So the fundamental reason why we actually put it in this all insulated is because by making it cool down really slowly, we preserve the sauce, like I was saying before, without putting additives which might, impact on the taste or anything in that sort of nature. So they'll be in here for a little bit, and then in about 2 weeks time, week and a half, we'll probably take them out and put them under the stairs, and then we'll have fresh tomato sauce for another year. So I hope you enjoyed this little video on how we make our own sauce. Hopefully it inspires a couple of you out there to give it a shot, or maybe help your nonni out there who are still doing it. Or yeah, just being curious as to how people make their own tomato sauce, because it's kind of not as common anymore like it used to be. So it's kind of cool to keep this tradition going, and yeah, our sauce is obviously the best, so yeah, we take dibs on that. Have a good one.